Are you getting tired of words like hate, bigotry, and transphobia being thrown around without any merit? And then when actual hate is being used by the people claiming those things, nothing happens? Today I've got a report covering an issue just like that.
Yes, I understand Terry is the the head of the Pride Society and an activist for the LGBTQ, but that shouldn't come first before the care of children in the school district.
I am so against what they're trying to do to the children. Children deserve to be children, to have a free and happy childhood, and there's no reason why children should be sexually orientated in school. It's disgusting.
We don't mind if somebody's of age to make these kind of decisions, but when it's a child, that's when we just say no. And I would say 90% of them that were against us said they were in support of that. It's just misinformation that most people are getting.
Well, it was really important for me to be here because I just feel that a lot of misinformation is being spread about trans people and medical procedures. I am personally gender fluid and I am not being brainwashed. I'm not being forced into this. I am happier this way.
Drea Humphrey here with Rebel News, and before I get to the protest coverage, I just want to let you know, make sure you stay to the end because I'll be adding an important update that happened after I covered this protest on Friday, and that is that the bearer, the poster, the promoter of the controversial meme, Terry Westerby, has finally broken the silence. So stay tuned to the end so you can get the statement. Here's the coverage. Drea Humphrey here with Rebel News, standing in the downtown Chilliwack area, the Five Corners. It's an intersection with 5 different ways to go in and out. And behind me, you can see there is a small protest and starting to become a small counter-protest. And it's all in connection to something Rebel News brought to your attention 2 weekends ago. It is coming out of Chilliwack's SD33 school board, and one of their trustees, who identifies as the city's first openly trans man to be elected, posted this meme you're seeing on the screen. It's a Barbie-themed meme, and if you take a look, you see a mob in rainbow clad celebrating as they're just about to steamroll other people who are labeled as the sanctity of marriage, Christian values, and the traditional family. Now, go figure. If the roles were reversed and this was perhaps somebody labeled as a Christian about to steamroll and destroy people who look or appear to be in the LGBTQ community, you bet you there would be an outpour of outrage for that elected official. Now, in this case, there was some outrage, especially after the public got wind of this meme. But still to date, 2 weeks later, as I'm filming this for you, there has been no public apology from the trustee, Terry Westerby, who actually posted the meme. Instead, to the rescue came the chair of the board, Willow Reichelt, who wrote the following apology. It begins with, the Chilliwack School District embraces families of all religious faiths and no faith. A little further down it says, last week trustee Westerby shared a meme on his personal Facebook page that was intended to poke fun at online commentators who are upset that the Barbie movie was a feminist message. I know trustee Westerby well, and he is one of the kindest people I have ever met. Therefore, I know that he would never advocate violence or discrimination against anyone. I also know that the history of the meme in question, so I know that it is not intended to advocate crushing traditional values, but to point out the absurdity of saying that the Barbie movie has power. So in short, you got it wrong. This isn't promoting violence, you silly Christians. It's just a joke. But let's see what the protesters and some of the counter-protesters have to say about that.
So the news has been lying to you. Big Pharma, the big media are owned by the same company, BlackRock Investment. Did you know that? No, you didn't know that. The TV didn't tell you that. They're also owned by Vanguard. So you see, they use the media to promote this trans agenda.
Well, children don't have the conception or the mindset to make these kind of decisions of changing identity of or sexes. And we just want safe places for children to be children. We're all for free choice for adults, but when you're a kid, a lifelong decision like that could be a big mistake, and we're just here to protect them. Age-appropriate educational material, teaching children at 5 to 8, 9, 10 years old about anal sex and having sex with the same sex and stuff. I think that's just not right at that age.
And you're getting a lot of support. I'm seeing a lot, or hearing, I should say, a lot of vehicles going along beeping, but I'm sure there's some people who might be offended by this. What do you make, or what would you say to people who find what you're out here doing offensive?
Well, from discussing with a few people that were negative at first, they were assuming that we were against free choice, but when we mentioned to them that we don't mind if somebody's of age to make these kind of decisions, but when it's a child, that's when we just say no. And I would say 90% of them that were against us said they were in support of that. It's just misinformation that most people are getting.
Well, this Chilliwack School Board has become so brazen. They've been drunk on power, and they get away with everything, and it just keeps on ramping up, and they keep on getting worse and worse with what they're doing. And I feel that Chilliwack is like ground central for all this sozy nonsense. You know, they've really, Willow and her whole co-conspirators there have really put themselves on the map, you know.
Now, Harm, you specifically, I have seen people refer to you as transphobic, as a bigot. Are you opposed to people transitioning in general? What do you make of people who have these claims about you?
Yeah, I love those claims because our overpass rally in North Vancouver got a lot of coverage, and they showed our banners, and one of our banners says "Gays Against Groomers," and they called it horrifically transphobic. You know, it's so ironic, and it's kind of funny though too, because they present the whole message. You know, they say there's no such thing as bad publicity, but no, I don't have anything against people that want to be trans. If you do that as an adult, but there's no place to present that kind of stuff to kids. You know,
Terry has such a different worldview that you couldn't possibly understand how that would be offensive to anybody else. This is like a religion to him, and he thought it was funny. But it's great being out here and protesting in Chilliwack. I used to work in that building directly behind me, and I went to the courthouse just a block down the street 2 or 3 times a week for sentencing of people who abuse children. And that's why I get so passionate about it. And I apologize that sometimes I come across as sounding hateful, but it's because I know the damage that perverted adults can do to young kids. By encouraging kids to question their identity and encourage them to consider different use of pronouns, they're breaking down barriers and boundaries that kids normally have, and it sets them up to be more vulnerable to be abused. I've heard sex offenders say nowadays that it's not nearly as hard to seduce a child anymore because they've been desensitized by all the stuff that they're hearing and seeing in school. And that includes the pornographic books and lessons about alternate sexual lifestyles. They're learning about this way too young when they should be playing with trucks and cars and dolls and playing in the mud.
I am so against what they're trying to do to the children. Children deserve to be children, to have a free and happy childhood, and there's no reason why children should be sexually orientated in school. It's disgusting. They have a God-given right to be free little spirits, not what Big Pharma or the government wants them, you know. And it's all about the money. Follow the money.
Well, it is big business if you become a pharmaceutical patient for life. But specifically, there's signs here focused about Trustee Terry Westerby and a recent meme that was posted on Trustee Westerby's account. What's your thoughts on that?
It shows where his mind is at, and people like that don't belong on the trustee board. They don't belong in the school board. They shouldn't be in the school system. And I'm afraid that the whole school system has been warped by what's going on.
Well, it was really important for me to be here because I just feel that a lot of misinformation is being spread about trans people and medical procedures. I am personally gender fluid and I am not being brainwashed. I'm not being forced into this. I am happier this way. I am happier presenting as gender fluid, and I don't understand why people can't just let me exist. I don't appreciate it, and so I'm here saying trans lives matter, trans lives are important, and transgenderism isn't fake.
This protest is in particular about a trustee here in Chilliwack who shared this meme that some are offended with. What's your thoughts on that?
See, I did see that, and that's not what the meme meant. I'm sorry that people were offended by it, but the meme isn't saying that this is what Terry believes. He just reshared a meme, right? And you can't use one thing to say this is how every member in a group is, this is how this person is based off of this one meme, this one thing they said, because if we did that, as we've seen in the past, a lot of people get overlooked and just demolished based off of nothing but speculation.
I wanted to bring awareness and exposure on the school district trustee Terry Westerby for the recent meme that was posted. Actually, not the first time that something like this has been posted publicly. Yes, it's on their personal page. However, their personal page is public. This is somebody who's supposed to be in charge of our children here with the population steamrolling over Christian values. I'm not Christian myself, but more than half the population of Chilliwack is. And so are the children in these schools. So how does that make parents, Christian parents, feel their Christian children are safe under Terry's care? How are these decisions being made for the best way for Christian children? It's supposed to be about all children. Yes, I understand Terry is the the head of the Pride Society and an activist for the LGBTQ, but that shouldn't come first before the care of children in the school district.
Let me know in the comments what you thought about what the protesters and counter-protesters had to say. And as promised, I'm going to bring you a statement that Terry Westerby brought out over the weekend. Now, Terry Westerby claims to be just in complete shock and awe over the fact that people took the meme literally. Now, let's look at the statement here. At the beginning, Terry makes the claim that Terry has been away for a week and unable to get to any service, although there was some activity on Terry's Facebook. And I did send Terry a media inquiry that Terry appears to have received because I was then blocked from Terry's Facebook after that. So I'm not sure why Terry could only selectively access things online, but let's hear some of it. And of course, I will include the whole thing in the description box in the link to this report below. As mentioned, Terry says, I am shocked to see that my post was taken literally and without the context of the well-publicized reactions of the Barbie movie. To some, it may have appeared as though I was calling for violence against them because of their faith. And for others, it provided an opportunity to make hateful and bigoted attacks against me and the other two SLGB plus people. To those who believe that I was calling for violence against people of faith, I am truly sorry for the impact that this situation has had on you. I believe that all children and families should be welcomed at Chilliwack School District and that everyone should be seen, valued, and respected. Towards the end, Terry says, to those who are using this situation to make hateful and vicious comments about the 2SLGB plus community, who are sending me death threats and making horrific accusations about me as a trans person, I am unapologetically calling attention to your hate. Yet Terry provided no examples of the alleged death threats. I reached out to the RCMP to see if they received any reports. Surely they would have if a trustee was receiving death threats. I have not heard back at this time, but if I do, in a timely fashion, I will certainly update the written article below, which you can find in the description box beneath this video. If you appreciate that Rebel News had our boots on the ground to bring you this story and gave you a follow-up, consider supporting our journalism that covers many issues attached to gender ideology in schools. You can go to our special website called stopclassroomgrooming.com to find our previous reports and share them, and you can also chip in a few bucks there to help support the many costs involved in bringing you reports just like this. Again, that's stopclassroomgrooming.com.